We back. Yeah. Alright, so let's get this out the way then so Duke can get the fuck up out and go to game stuff. This is Jubilee again. Should you watch porn?
Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
This is pro. I don't know if this is the group of people that go versus, or I don't know if this is the line people. So I don't know which one is which. I don't know if it's.
Are they judging based on what kind of porn you watch?
I don't know.
Just porn in general.
The porn in general, I guess.
That's a good question. I don't fucking know. But yeah, should you watch porn? Jubilee, ready? Starting in 3, 2, 1.
I don't think this was the line thing.
Huh?
I don't think this. It's probably the other one, the little group thing.
Joint. Yeah, probably so.
You about how you can be even more involved.
Enjoy the episode.
Because people are anti-sex. That's why we're having the.
No, I am pro-sex.
Me?
That's by your definition.
Well, that's exactly right. That's why we're gonna agree to disagree.
Oh, Paul, yo, he said, yo, I'm pro-sex.
Wait
I'm trying to hit
a
something.
minute.
I'm looking for something after this.
I'll fuck anything to move. Look at that.
Who
Hell
has
no.
anti-sex issues?
That was funny as said. That motherfucker said, I'm pro-sex. Don't get it twisted.
Whoa.
Starting again in 3, 2, 1. So yeah, this is the middle ground. So yeah, this is when they discuss. We brought pro-porn and anti-porn advocates together to spark a dialogue about the differences and similarities.
The
Hi, I'm Buck, and
porn
I'm a
people?
human rights activist and pro-porn.
Hi, I'm Abigail, and I'm an aspiring physician, and I'm pro-porn.
Hi, I'm Riley. I'm an adult performer, and I'm pro-porn.
Hi, my name is JK.
women.
I am
Right.
a porn addiction recovery coach, and I'm passionate about helping men who struggle with compulsive sexual behaviors.
Hi, my name is Maria. I run a youth organization and we educate on this issue.
My name's Nicole. I'm 21 years old. I'm headed to law school next year. I have been a first-hand witness of the devastating effects porn can have in personal relationships.
Can I have my anti-porn people on the left and my pro-porn people on the right, please? I have watched porn.
Interesting.
I've
never
watched
watched porn?
porn in the past.
At
and I think
21?
I've watched more than my fair share of
Well,
it.
who's still standing?
To the point
The,
that it changed
girl.
my life. But right now I don't,
gonna be a
because
lawyer.
I'm at a point where
She's
in
gonna
a
join in.
decade, I won't be going back to it.
I watch porn. I also produce porn. What a great medium to use to help to explain to people different kinds of bodies, different kinds of sexualities, different ways that people fantasize about things in a healthy manner.
I started off watching porn as young as 12 out of curiosity, and eventually it led into my sexual exploration and loving my body. So I watch porn on a daily basis to, satisfy myself.
Hey guys.
All right, I'm gonna pause just because. All right, I kind of know like where her problem maybe is, because she said that she was in a relationship with the porn. Like, I'm assuming it's just like that fantasy type shit. Like, I guess the guy she was probably with doing the type of weird shit that he sees in porn and think that that's like
okay
real
with
fucking
her.
life. Especially since the fact that she has never even watched porn either. That's kind of. I think that's what that's kind of heading towards. He said he produces it. The porn actress, she didn't speak
She didn't.
on it.
Well, she probably did, but they didn't have it
Yeah,
in
sure.
there.
She watches porn every day.
And that's the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
You're an advocate of watching porn every day, Malcolm?
Hey,
I
watch
mean,
it when you can get it.
I'm not a big porn
Hey,
watcher.
sometimes you gotta Thanos it.
Just gotta snap it out of
It's
the way.
like, no, you got fine. I'll do it myself. When he was in a chair and shit.
I understand. All right, cool. I'm just saying. Oh, yeah. You guys watch porn? A lot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We're all married.
That's the reason.
No, I
Hey,
mean like,
good reason.
hey, I mean like.
Hey, I'm not. I said good reasoning, nigga.
Oh, okay. I thought she was like, I thought she was like down, and I was like, is that not true?
No, let it go. I agree. Starting to think too well.
I don't watch porn. It's not like I don't think about sex or anything like that, but that's just something I've only seen cause destruction in the relationships that I've been close to, and I've purposely stayed away from it.
Don't you think they already had a problem before the pornography?
Sure, yeah.
So do you think the pornography just pushed it forward and made the situation
maximize it or
worse?
some shit?
I don't think it's the cause. I think it's a symptom of the cause. It certainly pushed forward into issues of deceit, of mistrust, and broken relationships that certainly weren't helped by an exposure to pornography.
But what if you saw a healthy relationship around pornography? Would that change your mind?
I think amazing relationship is subjective.
Of course.
I think you could also direct that to me.
Yeah.
The thing is, professionally, I have just never seen it. We do have cases where they thought they were open to it, and one of them just got addicted to it.
What is addiction?
Addiction is when it starts interfering with other aspects of your life, when it interferes with your career, when it interferes with your finances, when it interferes with your erection. I couldn't masturbate for years unless I was viewing pornography.
Do you think shame has something to do with the reason why people feel that they get addicted? I get shamed all the time for my career, but what I believe is that people have created this idea that pornography is negative, pornography is bad. People use these to blame or springboards to say, well, he used alcohol and he watched pornography, so that must be the reason.
If that wasn't there, if porn wasn't there, the relationship could be saved. High-speed internet pornography, in my opinion, escalates the decline of any relationship.
Porn has directly affected my sex life.
I developed a sense of entitlement towards certain sexual acts. I expected that a woman in a relationship with me should be willing to give blowjobs, or should want to have anal sex.
Have sex
And
like a porn star?
these things
Yeah, pretty
came
much.
before what she actually enjoyed. It caused the women a lot of pain. It caused them to look at their bodies and go like, well, he likes me for everything else, but like he's totally not into it, or he's not with me when we're having sex because he's somewhere else imagining that. All of that, when I measured it and I look back, it just came back to porn. I got to a point where I could not have sex or maintain an erection unless I was imagining a scene from some porn that I watched 3 months ago. And sadly, I'm not the only one. It took so long. In fact, for me, it took 18 months. And this involved a lot of work to know that it takes 18 months of journaling before I could have a regular sex life again.
Do you think that there's a way that we, as pornography creators, could create content that would help them?
It's noble. I wish that years ago, I tried to believe that. But once I realized how big the porn industry machine is, I just realized that that is not going to be the solution. I'm yet to meet a client who told me like, yeah, JK, I downgraded my porn to missionary. I started watching vanilla stuff. No, because it no longer starts with the vanilla stuff, and you all know that.
I will 100% agree with you. There is bad pornography. I will
What's the vanilla
100%.
stuff?
But that
Yeah, I don't
said,
know.
that doesn't make all of it the case
fuck
that
is
is
the vanilla
causing
stuff?
people to have erectile
Just wondering.
dysfunction. Now, me, I'm a transgender man. So I was born a woman and I became a man.
Holy
I kept
shit.
my vagina. I kept my vagina for a reason, but that said, I use it within my pornography, and I use that specifically to teach the world about sexual experiences with a man like myself. And it is sex educational on some level. It's also body educational.
But the question that I have
That
for
just
all
fucked
of
my
you
head
would
up.
be, what are we doing about the 11-year-olds who can one moment are playing Fortnite or Minecraft, and the next they are watching someone of your gender, which they have no understanding of what it is, and using that to determine what their sexual identity is going to be? What are the ethics of it? Is it
Are
at
you
all
kidding me?
costs I
An
must
8-year-old
educate people?
When I was 8, I never got to see anything like that. So guess what I did when I was 8? I cut my arms, I tried to commit suicide. I hated
There's other
myself because I
outlets.
was a man with a vagina at 8 years old. That was horrifying for me. Now, if I was 8-year-old and I got to pick up my phone and I got to see me, I would be like, actually, wow, I can actually be this man. But I never got that opportunity at 8 years old. Now, I agree with you. Pornography for an 8-year-old is probably not the best thing in the world. But let's talk about the parents. If I had an 8-year-old, I would never
Personal
let that 8-year-old have a
responsibility.
phone or
That's
a
why I
phone.
hate when people like bring
so
up.
interesting to say. I was
False shit.
That's why I hate when people bring up like scenarios like that. It's like, where the
fuck
fuck
are
are their
the
parents?
parents?
Like, you can't just
Yeah.
put all of this on one like subject and shit.
Yeah, you can't put that on one
And he
person,
says
like,
it, phone,
especially if
kill
you're a
him.
fucking
There you go.
like if you're the person I guess the representative or some shit like that, like the parents have to assume some responsibility of their fucking child, like
Yeah.
somewhere down the fucking line.
Where is that personal responsibility at? Like, people are their own people. Like, you can't just put a blame towards one thing and stuff. So, I don't know. That dude's pretty wild. Like, I understand there are like some people that they get addicted to some shit. That's understandable. Like, you have people that are addicted to, I don't know, like cutting themselves. You got people that are addicted to like porn, I guess. You got people that are addicted to drugs. Like, I mean,
I'm just trying to see, like when people are saying that they're addicted to like porn, I guess for the case. I'm just trying to see like
what?
okay, to like towards drugs, they're chasing that first high, whatever the case is.
Right.
Like I'm trying to figure out like what the fuck are they chasing, like.
Yeah, that's
into
why I'm
watching
trying to
porn and
understand
shit
like
that.
how much, like, what's the
Especially to the point that
levels?
it's affecting like you can't even get an erection without like thinking of some shit.
Yeah, like
from
that's
a
pretty
porn.
wild.
Like while
to
you're
me.
having sex or something like that, like that's the thing you gotta think about, like while you're having sex and shit. Like you gotta think of a porn while you're having sex.
Yeah, that's
I'm
pretty
just trying to
wild to
think
me.
like what's the like I guess like what's the high that they chasing? Or, like what's the first high that they chasing, whatever the case is. Just
And
comparing
like
it to drugs, whatever the case is.
how like he gave the clear definition of like addiction. Like, it uproots like whatever you like
Financial
your
stability.
yeah
and shit
everything
like
in
that.
your life. Like, it's more important than your basic needs. So it's like more important to eat, more important than water, whatever.
Yeah.
I knew you was gonna get it. Fucking Boondocks. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I was like, that would sound like a
Damn you,
warrior.
Aaron.
Yeah, but at the same notion, like I'm just trying to figure out from him, like, okay, so like literally, dude, were you like sitting at your computer like Quagmire all day? Like, you remember how like they
Yeah,
didn't
his
see him
arm,
for
yeah.
like weeks and shit? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm wondering. Like, how does it
I'm
like
just trying to
get
see how does it come
from
how
that?
does it come have become an addiction like
Like
you
that?
saying,
Yeah, like
Like, to the point, like-
I don't understand like how you go from like that to that like
because that's
real
probably
quick.
some person's mind that we gotta do.
I guess
research and
each individual person is
look into
different
shit like that,
and
yeah.
shit too. So like,
Yeah. It's just
like,
curiosity though.
Yeah.
yeah, like I can understand it with drugs, but like I don't know, like porn, like that's like it's like you and like what you're watching. So like I don't understand how it can like uprule like your basic day living. You like, I feel like jerking off. I don't feel like fucking going to work for 12 hours.
Yeah,
I feel
she
like
said-
jerking off for 12
The
hours.
other
Like,
young lady said
how
it
how is
created
that even
mistrust
possible?
with somebody that she had. So I don't know how porn
Yeah,
could
that's what I'm
create a
assuming.
mistrust.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what they're finna go into now. Because at first when she just said that, I thought it was like, okay, she probably just got cheated on or something like that. Probably.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's
I
what
don't
I
know.
was thinking too.
But now she didn't sit down again
Mm-hmm.
for this question. So now I'm thinking like my first thing, like somebody tried some shit on her that she didn't agree with and all that type of shit. So that's what I'm assuming. But yeah, I'm the same boat as you. I'm just trying to see how the fuck does porn become an addiction. Like, I guess motherfuckers got gaming addictions too. I guess I don't know. And like okay, so we saying drugs, but also like gambling too.
Yeah.
So motherfuckers gamble because they want to win, like the big riches, and like say they
It's
hit
that-
that $1 big $1 million.
Yeah.
Say, oh shit, I did it once, I could do it again. And they chasing that type of shit. But what the fuck are you chasing for porn though? Like that's the only thing I don't get. Like what the fuck
Yeah,
are you
that's why
chasing?
A lot of people with a gambling addiction, they just see it as, well, damn, I've been losing these past 7 days in a row. This 8th day, I gotta win.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I was just trying to think.
Yeah, that's why I'm.
Maybe somebody can inform us. I don't know, but
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to
what
understand. Like, I understand like what addiction is, like different subgroups of addiction. Like
You just don't understand,
you
like, how.
I don't understand how for like porn. Like
Yeah.
how like
Yeah, I'm
if it's
saying.
just physically yourself, like
Yeah.
then I don't understand like how like you know that you could go that deep by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, but.
Starting in 3, 2, 1.
wanted to run over here. So interesting. I actually remember this story. In like the middle of the talk, a mom, she stood up basically and raised her hand and grabbed the mic. Her son, who was 8 years old, he had Googled sex, so he was curious. He wanted to know, you know, like any other kid. But what he found then was porn. And I would argue that the mainstream pornography does not actually show sex, if you know what I mean. He was not so upset about like what he had seen. He was more upset about the thing that he had seen. He thought, this is what my parents do to each other in bed.
But why is he fearful? That's the thing that I want to understand.
He's not knowledgeable. He don't know.
It's a stigma here in America.
I noticed in Sweden and Norway and that particular
Way
part of
more
the world,
open.
much more open about bodies. What I thought to myself was, well, what if children on some level were taught about sex as a positive thing, as a beautiful thing, as not a...
Absolutely. But that's kind of I think perhaps you're missing the point of the story, because he was looking for sex.
Yeah.
You know?
He was, yes.
He was.
But what he saw was not nice.
not what he, exactly. But I would assume and I would guess that it was quite aggressive.
I think I wanted to add on to something you were saying. You have to have some level of maturity to watch it. I remember coming across a video where a girl was masturbating with a Sharpie marker, and I thought, oh, look, she's having fun. Let me grab a Sharpie marker. Let me try this. Made absolutely no sense. I remember doing it, and I remember thinking, what is this? Like, this makes no sense. So me doing my research, I realized certain masturbation techniques, and then I realized, oh, pornography isn't real. Like, this is just a show. And unfortunately, not everybody has that realization, and I'm not saying that's the cause of the addiction or whatever, but there should be some level of understanding.
Yeah, so I said no to the prompt because I currently do not have a sex life. But I've definitely experienced emotional intimacy with somebody who was addicted to pornography and absolutely experienced hurt within that, of him not being honest about the fact that that was something he struggled with, and that, similar to you, it sounds like, had expectations of me that I couldn't fulfill and that I didn't even know where they were coming from until a year into the relationship. So yeah, I think pornography can affect intimacy without affecting particularly a sex life.
The stigma around porn is too negative.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
Come on.
What I see when I
negative.
meet kids and youth, especially like in the classrooms, is that the stigma and the kind of shame and the guilt is exactly what is kind of hindering the conversation. I'm all about like lifting that off of their shoulders to have, you know, the conversation be open and honest. That's why I think it's so important that this is happening, you know, that we're talking about this.
I believe the stigma should be negative. I think pornography is sinful. The reason I did come over and said it's too negative is because, especially in the church, there's the stigma of shame that comes after asking for forgiveness. I just think that there should be an easier way to move on and grow out of that experience.
So we've talked a lot about the way that stigma and consumption affects the consumer, but we haven't really talked much at all while we've been sitting here about labor and the people who make porn. And from my point of view, I see firsthand so much the way that stigma against porn affects the lives and the safety of porn performers. It is near impossible to get a decent OBGYN. It is hard to find a mental health care professional who will not pathologize you for your choice of occupation. It leads to a well-known phenomenon, people losing their families just by virtue of what they do for a living. It's the palpable discrimination that sex workers of all kinds face because of this kind of negative stigma.
I'm gonna pause. Before she broke into the struggles of the actors and actresses and shit like that, I want to say, because the shit they was talking about, it was really like, they saying, is it too negative or whatever the fuck the case is. And a lot of that shit that was just going through my head, it's just like, it's kind of like responsibility. Like, it wouldn't be like looked upon so negative if it was getting put in like the wrong hands at the wrong like times and shit like that. Like saying like they were saying like a little 8-year-old searching for sex and shit like that. Like in some realm of that, like it's kind of do with some type of responsibility and shit like that. the fact that she just said that shit, like it's hard to find like an OBGYN, like and the therapists and shit, like they feel too sympathetic and shit for them and all that other shit. Don't feel too sympathetic for them.
Yeah.
That is kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's very fucked up because it shouldn't really be like that. But
No.
like here in America, like there is a huge stigma of like porn or sex in general, based. Some of it is solely based around like religion, like whatever religion you practice or whatever. Like it just like makes you feel dirty for talking about it or watching it or whatever. And it's like you have so many people with who are not, I guess, informed or are curious about certain things, and it's like they feel ashamed to like, you know, express themselves or find the right information or whatever for them. Cause like, what were we talking about? Was it the other Jubilee video we was talking about sex ed?
Yeah.
Yeah, cause that kind of ties into it too.
You're not informed enough.
Yeah, there's not enough
They only
information
know,
because like
somebody, your mother, your grandmother, or something. Why are you watching that bullshit? Like that's nasty. That's nasty. That's bad. That's wrong.
Yeah,
that's exactly what the fuck you just gonna be thinking like probably about the rest of your fucking life until you actually do some fucking research and find out like. And that's just with anything. That's not even just with porn. Like
it's
with any fucking thing.
It's the same. It's the same case with sex ed for like here in the States and shit. Like there's such a bad stigma on sex. Like, you know, they're not informing like kids of like the body parts and like you know the whole correct process of like making a baby and shit. Cause like, you know, some kids out there that believe you just kiss somebody and like
get pregnant,
boom, pop, somebody pregnant and shit.
That's what I'm telling my daughter.
So she got the internet. Yeah. She gonna be like Timmy Turner, internet.
Right.
But yeah, there's not enough right information being passed around. Everybody's like, especially with like the with sex ed and stuff, it's like giving kids only like one option: abstinent, and then like you're like sweeping everything else under the rug and shit. And that's why we have like this big problem here in the States about like sex in general and shit, because like people feel shame and people don't feel comfortable like talking about it.
And then that's when we get Erykah Badu walking around naked videos. But yeah, starting in 3, 2, 1.
No, this was a good one to watch from the outside.
Shit.
This is the first moment standing there that I was able to see like, okay, wow, because I could feel it this time instead of just listening. I feel the human part, and that's why I say that the stigma hurts. That's what I see. The stigma hurts, but the stigma needs to be there because sometimes it's the only way I can get my point across.
Right, so I think what you're saying is that
good for
to
you.
help the demographic that you need to help, it needs to have that stigma. But stigma in any way, shape, or form is not good for anybody. Once stigma is there, it's just going to create a negative space. I agree with it. You don't ever have to accept what I do. Only thing I ask for is respect, and respect means no stigma.
While I would maybe not give you exactly what you want as respect for your profession, I absolutely respect you as a person. And I think that your opinions, while totally wrong, are you have the right to have that opinion.
I'm gonna pause. Why she can't respect his profession though?
It's
based off our own interests?
Based off our own biases. So
I'm just curious, because I can say I don't respect you as a lawyer.
Yeah, that's true. Because
I don't respect
there's
you
some
as
people,
a
there's some lawyers
whatever.
that defend fucking murderers and shit,
Yeah,
and like get them off. Like I don't like that part of like our judicial system, but you know you have to because this is part of our judicial system. You know.
Okay. No, I was just wondering. All right. Starting at 3, 2, 1.
Our society needs better sex education.
Yep. Case point.
Well, all right.
Nailed that right on the
So
head.
go for a while,
Don't
won't
just
it?
teach them how sex works biologically. Teach the children about consent and autonomy over their bodies and communication with their partners and how to do that in a healthy way.
Emotional intelligence is one of the things that is lacking among men who watch a lot of pornography. Society, the way we were raised, Disney, and then Pornhub. And then you get this messed up emotional intelligence thing.
Said Disney
You know, it
and
all
Pornhub.
conflicts.
That's where I'm at.
You have to understand, man, it's true because I was born as a woman. I was not born as a man. It's dominance, taking, that's what we see as masculinity, and I totally disagree with that. It's very toxic, and so we do need to talk about that. But for myself and my particular porn
Toxic
and my
masculinity
desire to
shit,
create
but yeah.
education around it was specifically targeted
Still don't
to
get
people
that.
like myself.
Yeah.
It's because I didn't have sex till I was in my 30s. Because I
Wow.
was too freaked out about my body and too freaked out about how people would feel about me. And so I was not comfortable sexually. So I knew once I became sexually comfortable, thank God for that, because that gave me a space to be the man I am today.
Tell me if you're wrong, but I think we basically all agree that at the end of the day, we recognize sex as something that should be beautiful, that should be a form of expression, just who you're expressing it to and when you express it, we all kind of disagree on.
I think all of these views were necessary to create something nuanced, and I hope that it improves the mental landscapes of the folks who consume what we produce.
All right, right on.
Think again.
I love how respectful of a conversation that was.
That was awesome. Yeah, I think this is one of the best representations.
I think they
of
always
what
got
women are
respectful
supposed to do.
conversations though. Like don't nobody
You
never
guys
just
know
wild the
Wow,
fuck
fuck
out.
out, yeah.
Well, I mean,
And
I be
depends on
waiting
when it
for
comes
it.
I mean, they have some wild ass statements,
I be
but
waiting
ain't
for
nobody
it.
All
gonna.
of your ideas,
I mean, hey,
good
you
ideas,
might have
bad
spoke it up
ideas,
with that
like,
one.
okay
anniversary
ideas,
jump-
we love
yeah.
hearing them. As always,
want
subscribe,
to, dude.
like us on
You got a little
Facebook,
time?
follow us on